All right, the Detroit Lions quarterback Matthew Stafford kind of responded yesterday about the Lions potentially moving on from him. And let's talk about should they move on from him. Hit that subscribe button, bell icon button, share the video. Appreciate the love, support. And he basically said, the hypothetical was so far in the future that, he can't wrap his head around it. And he said that basically, if they choose to move on from him, the decision is out of his control, and that if he here or somewhere else, he gonna ball out and be the best player he can. And my whole thing is, after thinking deep about it, it's time to move on from him. I thought they should carry him one more year, to be honest, but it's time to move on. The dude is like 700,000 against teams above 500. And he's not the quarterback for this team. All right. Look at Aaron Rodgers. He's the quarterback for that team. It works because he's so great that he can really cover up all the deficiencies that they got. Same thing with Peyton Manning. The Lions need to find a Peyton Manning. They need to find a Aaron Rodgers, they Patrick Mahomes. They need to find somebody. If they can't put a team around a quarterback, they need to find somebody that's great enough to cover up their deficiencies like Peyton and Rodgers and Mahomes. And you need one of those quarterbacks. Even Lamar Jackson, you know what I'm saying? He's great enough to really cover up that he don't have a number one or number two receiver. He got a great tight end, and that's just the honest truth. And with Stafford, he deserves to go somewhere in an organization that's ready to win right now. And honestly, the Lions is going to go through another rebuild. Think about it. You got to get the Trey Flowers contract out of here. You got to pay Romeo Cora. You got Jamie Collins with a couple years on his contract. I mean, it's a lot of decisions to be made, And him going to San Francisco or him going to another team that's ready to win. I mean, just think about it. Pittsburgh, if Roethlisberger walk away. Just think about some other. New England would be a great situation. Remember, people forget New England still got a good defense, but they had a number of guys opt out of New England on their defense. The Raiders that they done with Derek Carr. There's just so many teams. The football team keep looking for a team because they kind of ready to win. They add another receiver, McLaren. Their defense is legit. Maybe a couple of DBs. Maybe Washington might be the fit for them. But I've been saying Matthew Stafford has been the one constant issue with the Lions. No matter if you get rid of Calvin, no matter if you get rid of, John Kitna, Mike McMahon, Drew Stanton, you go through Javid Best. How many guys, Jeff Backus, Dominic Wariola, Frank Ragnow, it's consistent that he's the one constant. No Indomitius Sue, no Calvin, Javid Best. He's the one guy that's been here for the last, 12 or 13 years that's been here. So how can he be the problem? You know what I'm saying? He's just not the quarterback for Detroit. And with him thinking he could move on, he didn't indicate that he was retiring. He said, basically, if it's here somewhere else, it's out of my hands, but, I'm going to be the best player. I'm going to be the best player that I can be. And to be honest, you got to respect that. He want to continue to play, but honestly, he probably hurt his stock with all the injuries. To be honest, he hurt us all the stock with all the injuries. But, ideal situation probably San Francisco. They probably get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo, not on nothing. You plug him in. Maybe the Cowboys move on from Dak Prescott. Who knows? And they plug in Stafford over there. There's so many different scenarios in which, he can be. Maybe New York say, well, Daniel Jones not the guy. Let's get Matthew Stafford in there. But for the Lions, they have to find a quarterback that's the end quarterback. They got to find somebody that's mobile. They got to find somebody that can improve the running game. And that's one thing they haven't had since Stafford been here. A consistent running game. They went through 1,000 running backs. You got to find a quarterback that can amplify the run game like Lamar did in Baltimore. If you keep Kenny, whoever you keep, if you can get that running game going with a mobile quarterback, it's going to be serious. Trevor Lawrence is obviously the ideal prize. I would trade every player, every pick on the team just to get Trevor Lawrence. But to be honest, their best shot might be at getting Justin Fields, getting Zach Wilson, Trey Lance. Trey Lance and all three of them is mobile. I think Justin Fields is a different type of athletic at least from Zach Wilson. So to be honest, you got to find a quarterback that can really mold into a pocket quarterback, but also, he could do some things, that he can run a bit. But, Stafford said he ain't retiring. That's basically what he said. And he want to continue playing. They probably going to have him next year. And they probably not going to draft their quarterback. And they just going to keep setting themselves back and back. But honestly, They should take a quarterback. They took Herbert last year. This team probably be going to a different stratosphere next year because Herbert and Kenny and Marvin, that'd be nice. And he's also mobile as well. Tua hasn't looked so good, but then again, we got more offensive weapons than Miami. They got a better defense, but I mean, it's just at the point it's time to move on. You can say we feel Matthew Stafford all we want to, but he simply hasn't won. He hasn't got the job done, and people just don't want to have that conversation. For real, they don't want to have that conversation. I want to have that conversation, you know. But then again, if they do continue to keep Matthew Stafford, it's basically going to be basically because it's the buddy system. It's the mom and pop system. It's just, at this point, it's time to get the modern quarterback. And then Stafford hasn't been perfect. I mean, he could have matched Aaron Rodgers on that deep crossing route to Marvin Jones, and he missed the throw. People are like Matthew Stafford ain't made a mistake. He turned the ball over. I mean, them stretches with Minnesota, I can't remember the exact losses, but in Minnesota, he turned the ball over in the end zone twice. Had they produced 2 touchdowns, it would have been a more competitive game. They probably would have beat Minnesota. He did it a few weeks in a row. Turned the ball over in the end zone, you know, in the red zone. And we lose the game by 2 or 3 touchdowns versus Minnesota. If he don't throw them picks, it's different. So people act like Matthew Stafford ain't committed any mistakes in Detroit, and that's just absolutely a false narrative. He's missed plenty of throws. You know what I'm saying? And with Stafford, they hasn't been able to go up the field and consistently score a touchdown. He ain't been able to really go point for point with any notable quarterbacks. It's always with Matthew Stafford, a missed throw, a pick, or something fluky that happened. We need a quarterback like Green Bay. If Green Bay had Matthew Stafford instead of Aaron Rodgers, they wouldn't have a Super Bowl. It's like several levels in between them. Aaron Rodgers is a superior quarterback. Peyton is a superior quarterback. People talking about, well, why doesn't Matthew Stafford get credit for these no-look and these incredible throws, that the same thing that they praise Patrick Mahomes for? Simply because Patrick Mahomes wins. Patrick Mahomes is able to be on Sunday Night Football and the Super Bowl, Monday Night Football. He has prime time. Matthew Stafford don't get no prime time games. And when he do, they usually get smashed. So that's the question. And then you got one of the greatest receivers of all time say he wish he played with Aaron Rodgers. You know, Matthew Stafford, people overblow him. He's a solid quarterback. And if you put him in Denver, they'd probably be a playoff threat. But to be honest, in Detroit, he's not a threat. It's time to move on. It's time to get you a modern quarterback that's mobile, that can scramble and do all the great things that some of these quarterbacks can do. Extend the play. And with Matthew Stafford, it's just simply he ain't got the job done. And believe me, if he was a black person, he wouldn't have got 13 years. We all can agree on that. If you don't show me a situation where a black quarterback in history go 13 and 7 and 27 or 70 or 60 against the teams above 500, where he keep his job, it doesn't exist. He would have been out the town. It wouldn't be no excuses. Oh, he didn't have a running game, or he didn't have the receivers or the offensive line. It's either you get it done or you don't get it done as a black quarterback. And it should be the same standards for the Matthew Staffords, the Carson Wentz, and the Jared Goffs of the world. Either you get it done or you don't get it done. And simply, Matthew Stafford has not got it done in Detroit. He's got a pass from all the brothers, all the white people, all the sisters, and Arabs, and everybody else in between, Indians. Everybody gave Matthew Stafford a pass. But it's obvious that no matter the receivers, the lines, the defense, no matter what it is, he has failed Detroit. He has failed the Lions organization. And like I said, if you put a brother like Byron Leftwich, Lamar Jackson in a situation, they wouldn't have been able to get to 7 and 70 or 80 them amount of games versus a team's above 500. They would have been gone long ago. And the Lions continue to fail because the Ford family continues to treat this like a fucking car factory. It's not. 2 different things. You gotta spend the money. You can't build them cheap ass Fords. You can't build the Lions like them cheap ass Ford cars they got. People get mad. Oh, the Fords are the cheap cars. It's like one of the cheapest cars you can get around the world. All right, especially domestically. Okay. 2, you can't make this personal. Football is a business. When it's time to cut bait with somebody, cut bait. That's as simple as that. And you gotta make the tough decisions. It's just that this dude has got to pass for so long. And I seen him turn the ball over, choke games up. And And nobody bats an eye. Everybody, you know, blame Calvin for, oh, he quitting and shit. Get tired of Matthew Stafford throwing the ball up and you getting messed up. But hey, it is what it is. Let me know what you think about the video. Don't forget me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Reach out if you have a business question, inquiry, sponsor, video request. All my social media links in the description. Fast forward to reach me is Twitter, then Facebook, then Instagram. We also got a Facebook group. All those links in the description. Want to make a donation to the channel? Cash App CJ Good 313. That's in the description. PayPal link in the description. Best way to donate. Share the video. Hit that subscribe button, bell icon button. We on.